Are you tired of joint pain that prevents you from living normally? Today, I will show you something that could change your life. One vitamin that, according to the latest research, reduces pain and swelling in the joints. This discovery from 2023 may help not only those with rheumatoid arthritis, but also individuals suffering from gout. Stay with me, as you will soon learn how this vitamin works and how you can use it to find relief. Let's get started. Dear viewers, recent studies have shown that individuals suffering from joint pain due to rheumatoid arthritis can significantly reduce their symptoms by taking vitamin E. This lesser-known vitamin, often overshadowed by others, not only decreases the risk of developing this condition, but more importantly, alleviates pain and swelling right now. How does it work? Let me explain. In April 2023, a group of scientists conducted a review of the scientific literature and found that the intake of vitamin E reduces the symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis. Let's take a look at this study. The title of the study reads, "Effect of Vitamin E Supplementation in Rheumatoid Arthritis." As we can see, this study included nearly 40,000 individuals. In the conclusion, we read, "The ability of vitamin E to restore the intestinal barrier and improve gastrointestinal function may be associated with the prevention and treatment of rheumatoid arthritis. Regularly taken vitamin E supplements may help individuals with rheumatoid arthritis reduce discomfort, swelling, and joint stiffness, as well as improve their overall quality of life." Why does vitamin E exhibit such an effect? There are several answers to this question. First, vitamin E helps restore the intestinal barrier, which reduces inflammation in the body. In autoimmune diseases such as rheumatoid arthritis, there are often disturbances in the gut microbiota, leading to increased intestinal permeability. Vitamin E aids in restoring this balance, which alleviates the symptoms of the disease. Therefore, it is associated with the prevention and treatment of inflammatory joint conditions. What is the connection between the digestive system and joint diseases? How can the condition of our intestines and their permeability reduce the progression of an inflammatory disease such as rheumatoid arthritis? Science has long demonstrated that in the course of nearly all autoimmune diseases, including rheumatoid arthritis, we observe disturbances in the structure of the gut microbiota, which contribute to increased intestinal permeability. Although the exact mechanism of this relationship between joint diseases and leaky gut is not fully understood, some studies suggest that bacterial spores in the L form may be involved in this process. Bacteria form spores when their population in the intestines is being destroyed. This remains a hypothesis. However, as I mentioned earlier, autoimmune diseases, including rheumatoid arthritis, are associated with disturbances in the structure of the gut microbiota. As shown in the study I cited today, vitamin E improves intestinal permeability, which may be compromised by such disturbances in the microbiota. This is the potential connection and explanation for why vitamin E, by restoring the integrity of our intestinal walls, alleviates the symptoms of joint diseases. For those who have not yet heard that gut flora is disrupted in the course of rheumatoid arthritis, here is a quick piece of evidence. In one of the studies titled, "Expansion of Gut Microbiota from Rare Lineages Characterizes Rheumatoid Arthritis," we read, "These observations suggest dysbiosis, or an imbalance in gut flora, in patients with rheumatoid arthritis, resulting from an abundance of certain rare bacterial lineages." Thus, with this lengthy discussion, we have arrived at the starting point, the first study that demonstrated that vitamin E reduces the symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis. Of course, we must also remember that the mechanism by which this vitamin alleviates pain is different as well. Let me remind you, in the course of autoimmune joint diseases, which are accompanied by inflammation, large amounts of free radicals are produced. These, in turn, contribute to the sensation of pain. Vitamin E, however, is a well-known and powerful antioxidant. By neutralizing free radicals, it not only reduces inflammation, but also diminishes a factor that can irritate pain receptors, thereby alleviating joint pain. All right, we now understand the potential mechanisms through which vitamin E positively impacts the progression of rheumatoid arthritis. One of these mechanisms involves its effect on gut flora, and we will return to the topic of gut flora later. But before we do, I would like to address another joint disease I mentioned at the beginning of this video. I am, of course, referring to gout, which is caused by uric acid crystals accumulating in the joints, leading to excruciating pain. Pain that is almost unbearable. As it turns out, this joint disease can also be influenced by vitamin E. However, when it comes to vitamin E and gout, we are no longer talking about vitamin E alone, as in the previous study, but rather in combination with other vitamins, which also happen to have anti-inflammatory properties. First, let's examine the evidence. In a 2022 study, we read, "The inhibitory kinetics of vitamins B9, C, E, and D3 on bovine xanthine oxidase. Treatment of gout." In the conclusion, we find, the obtained results promise an excellent strategy for using vitamins to enhance immunity, treat hyperuricemia, the cause of gout, and minimize the common side effects of medications. In other words, it was this unique combination of all the vitamins that demonstrated the above effect. This is known as the phenomenon of additivity, where a specific effect only occurs when certain substances are present simultaneously. Now, an important note. It must be emphasized that this was an in vitro study, meaning it was conducted in test tubes. However, I did not cite it by accident, as it confirmed the relationships demonstrated by vitamin E in a human study conducted 2 years earlier. Specifically, this study showed that vitamin E, in human trials, reduces elevated uric acid levels, which are the cause of gout, a joint disease. Here's the evidence. A 2020 study titled, "Dietary Vitamin E Intake was Inversely Associated with Hyperuricemia in U.S. Adults." In the conclusion, we read, "Dietary vitamin E intake was negatively correlated with hyperuricemia in U.S. adults, particularly among men and participants aged 60 and older." So, to summarize this video so far, we have truly valuable evidence that vitamin E can reduce pain and the severity of the two most significant joint diseases, rheumatoid arthritis and gout. All right, earlier I mentioned that I would return to the topic of the connection between the bacteria in our gut and joint diseases. At this point, I would like to strongly encourage you to explore a plant-based diet, which involves incorporating more plant-based foods into your meals while reducing, but not necessarily eliminating, animal products. Why is it worth considering a plant-based diet, and what is its connection to our gut? And further, to disruptions in gut flora and ultimately to painful joints? Let's remember that a plant-based diet is a rich source of diverse fiber, and diverse fiber, in turn, serves as food for a variety of bacteria. This helps promote the development of a healthy gut microbiota. Since we now know that gut flora influences the progression of joint diseases, and gut bacteria feed on fiber from plants, we should therefore look for evidence that a plant-based diet modifies the course of these diseases. And indeed, this is the case. We do, in fact, have evidence that fiber from a rich plant-based diet not only protects against the development of these diseases, but also reduces the symptoms of existing ones. Let's start by examining the relationship between fiber and gout. In a 2019 study titled "Association of Dietary Fiber Intake with Hyperuricemia Among U.S. Adults," we read, "In conclusion, total dietary fiber and cereal fiber intake were inversely associated with the risk of hyperuricemia in the adult U.S. population." In other words, the more fiber in our diet, that is, the more plants in our diet, the lower the risk of developing gout. And this, let me remind you, is thanks to the fact that fiber serves as nourishment for the bacteria in our gut, contributing to the establishment of a healthy microbiota structure. This is yet another piece of the puzzle demonstrating the profound impact gut flora has on our health. However, gout is not the only disease in which a plant-based diet, as a source of diverse fiber, can influence gut flora and slow the progression of a joint disease. The second such disease is, of course, rheumatoid arthritis, a diet rich in fiber. But also, it must be noted, in anti-inflammatory compounds, such as the Mediterranean diet, can also positively impact and modify the course of this disease. In a study titled "An Experimental Study of Mediterranean Diet Intervention for Patients with Rheumatoid Arthritis," we read that the results indicate that patients with RA who adhered to the Mediterranean diet experienced a reduction in inflammatory activity, improved physical function, and enhanced vitality. However, for the sake of accuracy, it should be noted that there are also studies where the effects of a plant-based diet, such as the Mediterranean diet, were not as pronounced. In some of these studies, joint diseases did not subside as significantly as in the study mentioned above. That said, even if following this diet does not lead to a substantial reduction in joint disease symptoms, or no reduction at all, we still stand to gain a great deal from adopting this diet. And finally, the question: how much vitamin E should we take to notice a difference? Unfortunately, there is no definitive answer here, as in some cases, patients in studies responded well to physiological doses of 15, 30, or even 50 milligrams per day. However, there were also studies where high doses of up to 1,200 milligrams per day were used. I encourage caution when using large doses of this vitamin for extended periods, ideally in consultation with a doctor, to ensure both safety and the desired effect. It may turn out that even the minimal recommended daily dose is enough to notice a tangible difference. I would also like to share with you an extremely important piece of information about vitamin E that will make its supplementation significantly more effective. This is knowledge worth knowing. We all know that vitamin E is fat-soluble, which means that when taking it, you need to ensure the presence of fat in your diet. However, this is common knowledge. What few people know, however, is that selenium plays a key role in the effectiveness of vitamin E. Why? Selenium protects the structure of vitamin E, allowing it to remain active in the body for a longer period of time. In a study, we read that, from a mechanistic perspective, vitamin E requires selenium and vice versa, because it contributes to the elimination of lipid peroxides. That's all for today's video. I hope you found this information helpful. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who might benefit from it. And as always, I'll see you in the next episode. Take care and stay healthy.